Namaskar. I am Dr. Sapunti brings you the viewpoint. The war in the Middle East involving Iran, Israel and United States has created a serious global energy crisis. Oil prices are rising rapidly and shipping routes like the Strait of Hormuz are under threat. The big question is, will India face a shortage of petrol, diesel, LPG or natural gas? Is India prepared for such a crisis? In this video, we will explain India's dependence on Middle East oil, whether there is a real shortage, what steps the Indian government is taking, and what could happen if the war continues. Let's understand everything in details. India is one of the largest energy importers in the world. India imports about 90% of its crude oil needs. Around 60% of LPG and nearly half of LNG is also imported. A large part of these imports come from Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, UAE, and Qatar. Another major problem is the Strait of Hormuz. About 40% of India's oil imports pass through this route. If this route is disrupted due to war, oil supply and shipping could be affected globally. That is why the Middle East conflict directly impacts India's energy security. At present, the government says there is no immediate nationwide shortage of petrol, diesel, or LPG. However, some problems have appeared. There is LPG pressure due to supply disruptions and panic booking. LPG demand has surged in India. The government has even advised people avoid panic booking, use piped natural gas wherever is possible. There is shortage of industrial gas. Some industries are already facing shortages of propane and LPG, forcing factories to cut production. There is rising global oil prices. Oil prices have crossed $100 per barrel, increasing pressure on importing countries like India. So the situation is not a full shortage yet, but the risk exists if the war continues. How much oil reserve does India have? India has prepared for such crisis by creating emergency oil reserves. There are two types of stocks, that is, strategic petroleum reserves. There is storage in underground facilities such as Visakhapatnam, Mangalore, Patu. These reserves can cover about 9 to 10 days of oil imports. There is commercial reserves. Oil companies also maintain storage. Together, India currently has around 74 days of crude oil and petroleum stocks. This buffer helps India handle short-term disruption. So what is government emergency plan? The Indian government has taken several steps to prevent a fuel crisis. India diversifying oil imports. India is buying oil from Russia, United States, Africa and from Latin America. This reduces dependence on the Middle East. There is increasing domestic productions. Refineries are running a higher capacity and domestic LPG production has been increased to stabilize supply. There is priority distribution. Fuel distribution is being prioritized for household, hospitals and for essential services. Commercial users may face restrictions if storages worsen. Government is preventing hoarding. Authorities are cracking down on black marketing, cylinder hoarding, and panic buying. This ensures fair distribution of gas. There is alternative energy sources. India is also expanding piped natural gas networks, renewable energy, coal, and nuclear power to reduce dependence on imported fuel. If the war escalates and the Strait of Hormuz closes completely, then oil prices could rise above $150 per barrel. LPG supply chains could be disrupted. Fuel inflation could increase in India. However, experts say price increases are more likely than actual fuel shortages because India has multiple supply sources and reserves. So what is the final situation? India is not facing an immediate oil or gas shortage, but the Middle East war has created serious global supply risks. The government is relying on strategic reserves, diversified imports and emergency planning to maintain supply. If the conflict continues for months, India may face higher fuel prices, industrial shortages, economic pressure. But for now, the country remains relatively secure in terms of energy supply. And that's all for now. Thank you.